Willie D live.
What's up, family? All right, we got a Trump supporter, MAGA ICE. Well, a fake ICE, but I don't think the MAGA is fake. I think the MAGA was really real. The Trump supporter and the MAGA piece is real, but ICE, he was not. But for some reason, he thought it was a good idea to dress up as ICE and emulate ICE by trying to intimidate and bully a group of people who was not having it. Yeah, fam. They put hands and feet on that boy. Yeah. Check it out.
Ice is made of water. Eat dick, Ice. Get choked out again. Pussy, bring it. Hey, pussy.
I ain't got no problem with that. One thing I cannot stand is a bully. Now, this is what I want to know, fam. With a good, I don't know, 80% of people in the country not liking ICE, why would you want to dress up as ICE? Like, why would you want to dress up as someone who is hated? Someone who people look at and they just get a really bad feeling. You're not liked. This is precisely why it's a good idea for ICE agents to show their face. You got people out here who are cosplaying. They are pretending to be ICE. Yeah, they should show their faces, just like everybody else. Look, fam, if everybody else got to walk around and show their face, people who claim to be members of law enforcement should also show their face so we can know who the good guys are, right? Right? We got to know who the good guys are. We won't know if they're not showing their faces. Yeah. Now, he goes and pick a fight. Now, y'all know I'm a big fan of people picking fights and getting their butt whooped. You know, you pick a fight and get whooped up. Oh, that's on you. And you cannot play the victim. Ain't no feeling sorry for you whatsoever. He went over there and picked that fight, and you notice that he approached the girls first. A lot of those dudes are like that. They like picking on women. Yeah, picking on women and little kids and men who they believe will not give them the business. That's who they pick on. Like, you never hear about them accosting a gang member. You know, you never hear about them doing something to gang members, you know, jackers and stuff like that, right? The only time you hear something about that is when they go capture them. But they never leave them on the side of the road with their brains blown out and stuff like that. They don't do that because that's not who they're interested in. I'm going to tell you why. I have a theory about that. I believe the reason why they don't attack gang members and known criminals and jackers and robbers, because they think that they're going to self-destruct. They're counting on them to take themselves out. They're focused on the ones who have a promising career, a promising future. You ever notice that? Every time, almost every time, some young kid who ain't got started in life, you know, it's a college student some youngster who just graduated, some father who everybody loved. It's never the guy who beats up everybody and terrorized the community and nobody liked him. It's never that guy. It's always the guy that we need. You ever thought about that? Oh, they're absolutely targeting the best in our communities. Yeah. Now, I know one of you uncivilized mutts is going to try to point out somebody who was a criminal in the community, who terrorized the community. That is the exception, not the rule. So let me put that out there right now. But getting back to this uncivilized mutt who allegedly dressed up as an ICE agent and got his head beat in. Now, the allegedly part is dressing up. Getting his head beat in, we saw that. He got his head beat in. Now, ICE is one of the most hated agencies that's out there right now. ICE. They're in the airports. They're giving people anxiety. You know, going to the airport, you already have a bit of anxiety anyway, just trying to be on time, going through long lines, you know, trying to get checked in, right? All that kind of stuff. It can be nerve-wracking, right? So you already got that. And then now you add ICE agents who are there to really intimidate the people. They're not there to make the airport safer. They're there to intimidate people. They're there. Most people are not going to the airport to cause trouble. Most people are not leaving. If they're trying to stay in this, and they're trying to stay in the country, they're not trying to get on a damn plane, right? If they were trying to get on a plane and they were self-deporting, you would just let them go, right? What's the purpose of them being at the airport? There's a lot of other places they could be besides the airport. I think Trump saw those federal agents and members of law enforcement in some of these other countries, particularly the Middle East and some European countries. I've seen it myself, where they'll have, automatic weapons at the airport, and they're posted up, and they do look intimidating, because if something pop off, you are not going to win that battle. You are not going to win, but that's the goal. The goal is to try to intimidate people, make people's lives harder than what it already is. When our government should be trying to make this country, make the people in this country, or make this society that we share a more harmonious society, as opposed to being so divisive. But, Trump can't help himself. This is just the way that he get down. This is the way that he rocks. That's the way he rocks. I say rise up, America. I say when the police is out of line, I think that the people are supposed to come together. If the police is committing a crime, it is the duty of Americans to make sure that they do not just commit that crime and walk off into the sunset. If Americans had more courage, George Floyd would be alive, because there was several people who stood around and just was like, hey, you're killing him. Hey, you're going to kill him. Hey, and filming. What if the police knew that when they're committing crimes, that they were going to get checked every single time? The likelihood of them getting checked was extremely great. If they knew that, I don't think that they would, and I don't think, I know they wouldn't be behaving the way that they behave. I can't remember, I think it was Brazil. I saw some soccer match, and this guy came out of the stands, a fan came out of the stands and ran on the field. The police chased him down, and they was handling him really, really rough. Well, spectators in the audience took to the field. And I mean, they took to the field by the hundreds. They just started jumping over the bleachers and jumping over the seats and running out on the field. And it was a few hundred people, at least several hundred people attacked the police. And the police took off running. But see, they count on people standing down and being afraid. But if they stood up, as they did in that situation when the police were stretching their authority, when they were abusing that man, if they stood up, that's within their rights as a citizen to stand up to tyranny, to stand up to illegal authority, right? That's within their rights. That's within all of our rights, really. Now, in the U.S., you got an uphill battle because the deck is stacked to give the police the benefit of doubt. And judges and prosecutors, they're all on the same team. And they don't want to make that the norm in America, where police officers are held accountable on the spot, where citizens take it into their own hands to make a citizen's arrest. They don't want that to start happening, because then that would take away their power to control us and push us around. But imagine what would happen if Americans had that type of mentality. And I'm not saying it'll never happen. It's a remote chance that it'll happen, but it is a chance, because usually anytime something goes to the extreme, and police abuse and having the ups on the citizens have been swinging one way for a long time. But every time you have an extreme and something goes one way for too long, eventually it sways back in the other direction. They don't want to see that. To those people that were out there that took care of their business, no more talk.